So who am I speaking with?
I'm Gary Yentin. I'm the CEO and founder of App Promo,
And app promo is?
an agency focusing helping developers discover and distribute their applications.
You give a phenomenal presentation talking about, well, how developers can get their app discovered, and you went through so many details, but specifically you talked about the importance of paid media, and you said that was the most important way to get discovered, but it is essentially a beehive of traps and tricks. So from your experience, walk me through just some of the common mistakes people make and where you should be sort of spending your money and I guess, developing that paid media model.
Sure, I think it's a lot of planning because I think people just think they're going to put a few dollars and see what happens, but it's really a science. So they have to think about the creative, who their audience is, what their audience is looking at, and then from that being able to test and tweak. So as I mentioned in the actual speech, you can test with $50, you can test with $100, what time of day, what kind of applications the people are looking at. But the end result is using the analytics properly, monitoring it, and measuring. Because one thing about mobile advertising, it's very measurable.
And one of the things I thought you said that I thought was very interesting, if you can't measure and spend the time with it, don't even bother going into paid media.
Absolutely, because you're wasting your money. You're just throwing the money away because you're saying, I'm going to spend X amount of dollars. I'm not going to track it. What's the point? You want to get the users who are loyal to your applications, who are going to download the applications. So that's the great thing about mobile advertising is you can actually track it.
So give me an idea of like a 1 year paid media plan that you had with Klarna, maybe even shorter, 6 month. From the beginning to the end, how did it change drastically from we were spending money like this on day one and then after 6 months we were spending money this way?
Sure. At the beginning, you're trying to do a launch strategy, so you might do a burst campaign to get a lot of people to download your application, but then actually it changes over time. You might have different objectives. Definitely don't have creative fatigue. You have to change your creative constantly because you have to remember that user may be seeing the same ad over and over again and you want to generate new traffic. So spend it properly. Think about seasonal promotions because if you're doing it over 6 months to a year, you could have advantages for Christmas, holiday times. Take advantage of the things that are easy to access and then also have a strategy over time how much you're willing to spend. Make sure you measure the cost of acquisition and then just keep on scaling.
It's cost of actual download rather than cost per click through because ultimately that's what you want, downloads, right?
You want downloads, but you also want people to use your application. So downloads is kind of misleading. If the user doesn't open the application and actually work with it, you may not actually, that user may not be valuable to you, especially if your application is ad supported. So make sure you understand what your user is and how you're going to make money off of that user.
Lastly, you said it's extremely important to not just rely on one network. You have to deal with multiple networks. And you also showed this whole chart of what each one is good in terms of reach and whatnot. Are there any pitfalls in specific networks that people need to know about?
I don't think it's the pitfalls. I think it's the actual time to analyze and to measure. If you buy on one ad network versus the other ad network, you may get similar responses or you may get different responses. But the thing that you have to do is see what the response is. They each provide a service. Some of them are a little bit better. You may be able to get better conversions with one versus the other. But at the end of the day, you won't know until you try. So my recommendation is to try a bunch, see the ones that actually convert the best, and then keep on spending.
Excellent. Gary, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much.